As you know, we have completed the section 1 and now we are ready to get started with Blender. Welcome to section number 2. In this section, we will download and install Blender, explore its startup screen and configure a few basic preferences to prepare our workspace. By the end of this section, you will have Blender installed and ready for the rest of the course. So let's get started. Now that we have completed the introduction, it's time to download and install Blender. Let's open our web browser and search for Blender. Open the download link from the official website from blender.org. This will take us to the Blender official download page. Blender is completely free and open source, so you don't need to purchase a license, create an account, or subscribe to anything. Simply download it from their official website and you're ready to get started. At the time of recording this course, the latest stable version of Blender is 5.2, which is the version that we will be using throughout this course. A future note for the later version of Blender, you may notice small interface changes or differences. However, the tools and concepts we will learn remain largely the same. While we are here, you will also notice a system requirements page. If you like to review Blender's hardware requirements, you can find them here. We already have discussed the recommended system requirements in the previous section. You can also find an option to download previous versions of Blender. This can be very useful if you need an older version for compatibility with an existing project or any other course. However, if you're just getting started, I recommend you to download the latest stable version. Let's proceed with the downloading of latest version of Blender. Once you open the download page, it will automatically detect your operating system and suggest the most suitable installer for you. If you want, you can choose a different version or installer depending on your system, like Mac OS or Linux. In my case, I'm using Windows machine, so I'll select Windows option and then select the download Blender button. The download will begin automatically. Let's fast forward the video. The download has been completed successfully. So let's run the installer. The installation is pretty simple. Select the next button. Choose the installation directory and select the next button again. Then select the install button. The installation will take a few minutes. And after the successful installation, finish button will appear. Select the finish button and that's it. Blender has been installed successfully on our machine. So let's get started. Great job! Blender is now installed on our computer and we are ready to start exploring the software. We'll take our first look at Blender startup screen and become familiar with what you will see when launching Blender for the first time. Welcome back. In the previous video, we downloaded and installed Blender on our machine. In this video, we are going to open Blender for the very first time. Alright, let's run Blender using the shortcut available on the desktop. As soon as Blender launches, the first thing you'll see is the screen right here. This is called the splash screen. At first glance, it might look a little overwhelming, but don't worry, we are going to break it down step by step. When Blender launches for the first time, you'll notice that the splash screen looks a little different. This is because Blender is asking you to set up some basic preferences before we start working. First, let's talk about Blender version. If you look at the top right corner of the splash screen, you'll see a number written there. This number tells you which version of the Blender you are currently using. Blender is updated regularly, so keep an eye on the Blender version you are using because it's very important. Right in the center, you'll see an image or an artwork. This is just a splash image and it usually represents featured artwork created by the community for this version. Now let's go through these setup options. At the top, there is an option to import preferences from the previous version. This option only appears if you have a previous version of Blender already installed on your machine, so don't worry about it. Let's proceed to the next section. There is an option to select the language. This allows you to choose interface language. I recommend keeping it to English, especially if you're following the tutorials. Next, we have a theme option. You can select between Blender Dark and Blender Light. You can select any of these options based on your preference, but I really enjoy working in the dark theme. Next we have Key Map. These are the shortcuts which controls how you interact with Blender. If you are a new user, it's better to use default Blender shortcuts. Then we have a mouse select option. This determines how you select the objects. You can choose between left click and right click. Since it's more common, we'll go with the left click select. Next is the spacebar action. This controls what happens when you press the spacebar. You can set it to play or toggle the animation, open the tools menu, or open the search pop-up. You can leave this as default for now. We can customize it later. Once you have set everything and want to save your preferences, click the Save Preferences button. But for now, we are going to dismiss the splash screen by clicking anywhere outside the splash screen area. That is it for this video where we opened Blender for the first time and had a quick look at the splash screen. I'll see you in the next one. Now that we have downloaded and installed Blender, explored its startup screen, let's configure a few basic preferences. Blender works well with its default settings, but there are a few options that can make your experience more comfortable, especially if you are new to the software. In this lesson, we'll look at some useful settings in the interface, input and system tabs, and also enable an optional add-on that displays keyboard shortcuts on the screen. So let's proceed. Welcome back. Before we dive in to explore Blender user interface, we must set a few more preferences. For that, you have to go to main menu in the top bar and then go to edit and select the preferences. This will open a new window where we can customize Blender. Let's start with the interface tab. First, we have the resolution scale. This controls the size of the user interface elements. If your user interface looks too small or too large, you can adjust it here by changing the value, or by clicking and dragging in the left or right direction to resize it easily. For most users, keeping this at 1.0 works perfectly. However, if you are using a high resolution display, you may want to increase it slightly. For the screen recording, I'll set it to 1.2 to improve the visibility and readability. Next is the border width. This controls how thick the borders of the panels appear. You can increase it if you want to for better visibility, especially on larger screens. For now, we'll keep it at the default value. Then we have numeric input arrows. If this is enabled, small arrows appear next to the numeric values, allowing you to adjust them by clicking it. You can enable it if you want to because it can be helpful for the beginners. Now let's move to the Input tab in the Preferences and look for a couple of very useful settings. Here we have an option as Emulate Numpad. This option is especially helpful if you are using a laptop or a keyboard that does not have a dedicated numpad. Normally in Blender, the numpad is used for quick view controls like switching to front view, side view, or top view. If you enable this option, Blender will allow you to use the number keys at the top of the keyboard instead of numpad. So if you don't have a numpad, I highly recommend turning this on. Next we have Emulate 3-button mouse option. Blender typically uses the middle mouse button for the navigation, like rotation or orbiting around the objects. But if your mouse doesn't really support the middle mouse button, you can enable this option. This allows you to hold the Alt key and use the left mouse button to navigate in the viewport. If your mouse already has a middle mouse button, you can leave this option disabled. Now let's move to the System tab in Preferences and take a look at a couple of important things. At the top there are some options as None, CUDA, OpticX, HIP, One API, etc. This setting controls whether Blender is going to use your CPU or GPU. If it is set to None, Blender will always use your CPU. If you select the CUDA option, Blender will use your GPU, and that is going to improve your overall speed significantly. If you have a compatible graphics card, I recommend selecting the CUDA option and enabling your GPU here. Enabling the CUDA option has detected my GPU, that is NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2060. For performance improvement, let's leave this checkmark enabled. If you're not sure or if you don't have any supported GPU, you can simply leave the option to default, that is None. Next we have Undo steps. This controls how many actions Blender remembers when you press Undo. For example, if you set it to 32, you can go back 32 steps. If you increase this number, you will be able to undo more actions, which can be very helpful while learning. However, higher values may use more memory. For beginners, setting it to something like 100 or 128 is usually a good balance. Let's set this value to 128. And that is it for the basic preferences that we want to set. So let's save these preferences. Go to the bottom left corner and select this icon here, and then select the Save Preferences button. Your preferences are saved, so let's close the Preferences dialog box. Blender will remember these preferences for you. Even if you close the application, your settings will stay the same the next time you open Blender. Before we continue further, I want to show you one small but very useful feature. This step is completely optional. You can skip it if you want to. We are going to enable an add-on called Screencast Keys. For that, you have to go to Main menu in the top bar and then go to Edit and select the Preferences. Then select the Get Extensions tab. Add-ons are small extensions that add extra features to Blender. Hey, Blender allows you to browse and install add-on from the online source. But before you use this feature, you may need to enable the online access. So go ahead and select the Allow Online Access button. This allows Blender to connect to the extensions library and download the add-on available online. Now, the reason I'm using this add-on is simple. It will display keyboard shortcuts and mouse actions directly on the screen while I'm working. Now that we have access to extensions, let's search for the Screencast Keys add-on. Once it appears in the list, you'll see the Install button next to it. Go ahead and click on Install. Blender will now download and install the add-on for you. After the installation, we need to configure it. So now let's switch to the add-ons tab. We need to configure a few things here. First, make sure the add-on is enabled. Then look for the option called as Enable on Startup. Go ahead and check this option. This ensures that the add-on is automatically active every time you open Blender. Next, let's increase the font size of the displayed keys so that they are easier to read on screen. Find the font size setting and increase it slightly. This is especially useful for screen recordings and tutorials. Now that we have made these changes, let's save our preferences. Click on Save Preferences to make sure Blender remembers these settings. To confirm that everything is working correctly, let's do a quick test. I'll close the Blender now and relaunch it. As you can see, the add-on is still enabled and settings we applied are still active. Now we are fully set up and you will be able to clearly see the keyboard and mouse action as we continue through the training videos. So whenever I press a key, you'll see it appear on the screen, and whenever I click or use the mouse, those actions will also be shown on the screen. Now that we have set up Blender and customized our preferences, let's move on and explore Blender's user interface. Thank you very much for watching. That brings us to the end of section number 2. In this section, we downloaded and installed Blender, explored its startup screen, and configured a few basic preferences to make the software more comfortable to use. At this point, our Blender installation is complete and we are ready for the rest of the course. In the next section, we'll explore Blender user interface and become familiar with different areas that make up the workspace. I'll see you in the next section.